What's up, TheBrick.Church? Woo! Hey, it is an honor to get to preach to you today. I'm so excited about this. If we haven't had the opportunity to meet yet, my name is Preston. I get the privilege of being your creative pastor here at TheBrick.Church. And the creative pastor is kind of a unique role, so I was going to kind of explain to you a little bit of what I get to do. I get to lead the teams and the people who lead the teams who have anything to do with graphics and videography and social media and things like that. And I really enjoy doing it. It's a really good time, and it's a privilege to get to do it. But I like to start off my sermons with a question. So when I ask this question, you can raise your hand if you feel comfortable. If you want to, you don't have to. But my question is, do you have a favorite Bible character? Does anyone have a favorite Bible character in here? Yeah, some of you. It's supposed to be Jesus, is what I've heard. But I had someone ask me this question recently. It's my friend Alfred. He's like, hey man, like who's your favorite character in Scripture? And I was like thinking about it, and I was like, oh, Joshua. Joshua's my favorite character in Scripture. It was like, why? I was like, because Joshua did some really cool stuff, man. Like, he got to take what Moses did. He got to go to the promised land. He got to, like, split the sea like Moses did. Like Joshua got to do a lot of really, really cool things. He's like, is that your favorite character? And I was like, I'm actually not for sure if that's my favorite character. Let me think about it, and I'll get back to you. So, Alfred, if you're in the room, I don't know if he is or not, but this is my answer for my favorite Bible character. And my favorite Bible character is actually Moses. And the reason why it's Moses is because I feel like I resonate with Moses a little bit more than I do with Joshua. See, Moses had this moment in his life. If you don't know about Moses, to give you a little recap on his life, Moses is an Israelite, and he's born in Egypt. And he's born in Egypt at a time where the Egyptians actually had the Israelites enslaved. And when he's born, they're actually doing this thing where all the newborn boys are actually killed. They're trying to do like population control. And so Moses is born in a really unique time. He's supposed to be killed, but what happens is his mom takes him and she puts him in a basket and she floats him down the river to try to get him away from her. That way he isn't found out. And miraculously, he ends up at none other than Pharaoh's house. And someone takes him into Pharaoh's house, and Moses grows up there, and he ends up becoming what's called one of the sons of Egypt. So he's pretty much like a prince of Egypt. And then Moses has this moment where he knows he's an Israelite, and he goes out and he's trying to like kind of just see what the landscape's like. He's checking things out, and he sees an Egyptian beating an Israelite slave. And Moses just gets really mad, gets really angry, and goes up and just kills the Egyptian. Now, that's not why I resonate with Moses. I've never killed anyone, just to be clear. But he goes and he kills the Egyptian. And then he doesn't know what to do, and he's scared. And so he runs away to the place called Midian. And when he gets there, he decides he's going to be a shepherd. So he's a shepherd there for a while. And then one day Moses is walking, and there's a bush that he's walking by. And as he walks by it, he sees that the bush is on fire. And the bush isn't just on fire, but it's actually like not being consumed. Like it's not like it's not dwindling. It's not being consumed. And he's like, that's a weird thing. And then all of a sudden the bush starts talking. And when the bush starts talking, it's actually the voice of God that's coming through the bush. And God tells Moses something. He says, Moses, I need you to go back and tell Pharaoh to let your people go. And Moses is in this tension where he's done some things he's not proud of. He killed a guy. He probably doesn't feel qualified. Like he doesn't really, he knows that God knows that. Like, why would you send me? Also, Moses has a speech impediment. So he's not really the guy you would normally send to do that or to rally a room or to talk to a group of people. You might not even be able to understand him properly whenever he goes. And so Moses has this tension, and God's asking him to do something that he's called to do. And Moses has a response. It says it like this in Exodus 3:11. It says, but Moses protested God. Who am I to appear before Pharaoh? Who am I to lead the people of Israel out of Egypt? So Moses has this question to God. He says, who am I? Like, who am I to do that? Like who am I to go talk to Pharaoh? Who am I? And what's interesting is Moses is scared to go and protest Pharaoh, but he's not scared to protest God. And I think that's what happens when you don't know who you are. And Moses is like, who am I? Have you ever found yourself asking that question before? Like maybe God's called you to do something. Maybe he's called you to go to a new job, and you're like, God, who am I to go do that? Like, I'm not qualified for that. I can't do that. You open the door, but I can't do that. Maybe God's trying to get you in some new relationships, some healthier circles, and God opens the door for you, and you're getting an invitation, and you're like, God, but who am I to hang out with those people? Like, they seem like they have it more together than I do. Like, who am I? Maybe for you, you think you know yourself really well, and then you have a bad day and you do something and it seems a little out of character even for yourself, and you're like, who am I? Like, who am I? I get the privilege of being your creative pastor, but I also get to be your associate youth pastor here, which means I get to talk to a lot of the students and have a lot of cool conversations and stuff. And I get to preach here on Wednesdays. And not that long ago, I was preaching here on a Wednesday, and I was done preaching. And I was really sweaty because like the lights are really hot up here. And like I was just kind of like tired. And I went and I walked out of that door and I went out and came out to the lobby. And when I came out, I didn't expect anyone to be in there because everyone like is normally in here. And as I'm walking down, I kind of have my head down. I'm just kind of thinking, just processing the sermon. And I out of the corner of my eye, there's a student standing here. And he goes, and he looks at me and he says one word. He goes, "How?" And I like jumped back. I was like, "What?" And he's like, "How?" I was like, I don't know what you're saying. Like, what do you mean? And he's like, "How can you preach about how good God is?" I was like, "Well, because he's been really good to me, man." He's like, "But he hasn't been good to me. Like, my life doesn't look good. Like, my life's been pretty bad." And he starts explaining some of the things that's happened in his life. And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, what I need to do is give him some like basic like apologetics, right? So I'm like, I'm going to give him like the reasons for God existing. So we go and we sit down at those red chairs out there. And I'm like, man, I was like, have you ever thought about this evidence for God and this evidence for God and about how like God did this? And like, that's pretty cool. And what I recognize is that he already knows all of these things. What I recognized was that he actually wasn't closed off to the existence of God. And so we start talking and I realized I don't need to tell him about God. I need to tell him about what God thinks about him. And so I'm like, man, have you ever thought, like, even though things look bad right now, like God has a plan for your life? Like, have you ever thought that maybe like God actually put a call on your life? Like, did you know that scripture says that you are fearfully and wonderfully made? Like, it says that God knitted you together in your mother's womb. Bro, you aren't here on accident. Like, God put his thumbprint on you when he made you. And what I saw in this student was he went from looking really angry at me, like I thought he was going to punch me maybe, to dropping his shoulders and his face relaxed. He's like, "Man, thank you so much for saying that." And he gave me a hug, and I prayed for him, and then he left. And what I recognized was that this student wasn't closed off to the idea of God existing. He was asking himself the question, if God exists, then who am I? Who am I? I've wrestled with this question before. I'm sure you've wrestled with this question before. I'm seeing students wrestle with this question. And what I've found is that the best way to wrestle with this question isn't on your own, but it's with people. And so what I want to do today is I want to take the question you're wrestling with, who am I? And I want to tell you a little bit about who we are as a church so we can help you figure out who you are. And the way I want to kick this thing off is by going through, I want to go through some of our core values today and just kind of lay it out. And so you can get a really good grasp of who we are as a church. I want to kick this thing off with one of the funniest things that has ever happened here at the Brick.Church. Let's check it out.
Yes! Oh, man. We got video. Oh, man. We got time to watch it back in slow motion.
Let's run the fallback one more time. Man, if y'all are here anytime between Monday and Friday, like this is what the Brick.Church is like. Like we have fun, we laugh all the time. Actually, we have a core value, and it is that we laugh hard, loud, and often because there's nothing more fun than serving God with people you love. And this is what it's like to be here. Like this is what it's like from Monday through Friday. On Sundays, like we serve here, we serve God here, we do ministry here, and we have a ton of fun. Like you can't be here for very long without finding out like this is a place where we have fun. Like we laugh hard, loud, and often. And if you're asking yourself the question today, who am I think maybe you can find out who it is when you find out who we are. And part of who we are is that we are people who laugh hard, loud, and often because nothing is more fun than serving God with people you love. Another thing that's really true about this place is that this is a place where you can belong before you believe. Now, I was 16 years old the first time I ever came to this place, and I was actually invited to a Wednesday night by one of my friends. And I wasn't invited because, like, I didn't show up because I wanted to, get to know Jesus or have an encounter with God. I didn't know if I believed in God. I didn't really know what any of that looked like for me. But my friend played drums, and he was like, "Hey, man, you want to come see me play drums?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll come see you play drums." He's like, "All right, I'm going to play drums at this church." So I came here just to see my friend play drums. And I come in, and I walk into this place, and I had some of these ideas. Like, I'm not really for sure where they came from. but like maybe you can relate a little bit. I had this idea that like for pastors to be like nice to you or to be like friends with you or to like be like bros with you, they had to like you have to like be like a certain level of Christian. Does that make sense? Like I thought in order for me to have like a relationship with a pastor or to be cool with a pastor, like they had to know that I at least believed in God and like I was trying my best not to sin. And so I came in here and I would really just go into churches kind of apprehensive in general. Like I knew I didn't have my stuff together. I knew that I was wrestling through some stuff. I knew I was wrestling with some sin. And I was just coming in here and it was nothing like I expected. Like they had Christian rap music playing. When I walked in, the vibes were super cool. Like the students were having a great time. And I see your lead student pastor, Taylor, and I don't remember if this was the first week I was here or a few weeks later, but he's wearing these high top gray Jordan shoes. And I was like, man, I really like those shoes. Just as a passing comment when I'm walking here, man, I really like those shoes. And all of a sudden he starts doing this. I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, what size shoe do you wear, bro? And I was like, 11. He's like, dude, I think these can fit you. And he starts taking his shoe off of his foot. And I was like, no, bro, I can't take your shoes. And he'll tell you that was the moment he realized I didn't really like his shoes because I didn't take his shoes. But what that did for me is it made me realize, like, this guy knew nothing about me. He didn't know if I believed in Jesus. He didn't know if I believed in God. He didn't know if I was like had sin in my life, if I didn't have sin in my life. And he's a pastor here, and he was willing to love me on spot enough to give me the shoes off of his feet. And I start to sit and I start to realize that this core value is true here. Like this is a place you can belong before you believe. We are a people. It's not just Taylor. We are a people who create a place where you can belong before you believe. What that means is no matter where you're at in your walk with discovering who Jesus is, like no matter what you believe about God or Jesus or what you have going on in your life, like you can come in here and you can be loved on sight. Like you can come in here and you can sit here long enough to find out that God is good and he loves you and he wants good things for you. This is a place where you can belong before you believe. And I got to watch this actually work out recently at our church camp. We had our first ever church camp recently. It was a great time. It was a few weeks ago. And it was a 4-day camp. And on day one, I got to see some students come in. And during worship and the sermon, they weren't like distracting, but they just weren't engaged. You know, like they were just kind of there, just, you know, kind of standing there, whatever. And what I got to see was because they had a place where they were loved for 4 straight days. Because they had a place where they could ask questions for 4 straight days, because they had a place where they could wrestle with whatever they had for 4 straight days. From day 1 of them standing there not being engaged, on day 4, they were the people in the altars leading engagement in worship. That's what it means to be a place where you can belong before you believe. It means you are willing to walk with people. You are willing to walk with people through the journey as they're discovering who God is. And that's exactly what this place is. There's another thing that's really true about this place. And it is that we want more for you than we want from you. I'm married. My wife's name is Fallon. We've been married for 3 years. And the funny thing about being married to me, like one of my favorite things is just all the little funny moments that just kind of happen, you know. We were coming out of church camp, like we were getting ready for some stuff for church camp. And one night we both get home kind of late because we're working on some stuff. I get home first and she gets home after me. And by the time she gets home, I'm already in bed. I'm watching a show and I'm kind of just chilling, thinking I'm going to be asleep in probably about an hour. And Fallon comes into the house and she comes into bed and she lays next to me and she's like, hey, doesn't a Twix sound like really good right now? And like, if you know me, a Twix sounds really good right now all the time. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it does, but, you know, it does, but I don't really want to go get it. And she's like, oh, okay. And then, like, we're still watching the show together. I think we kind of addressed that. And then she says, but doesn't a Mexican Coke sound really good right now? And if I love Twix this much, I love Mexican Cokes like this much. So I was like, I mean, it does sound really good, but, you know, I don't really feel like getting out. Like, you know, she's like, oh, okay. She's like, but doesn't a Twix and a Mexican Coke sound really good right now? I'm like, yeah, it does. And then eventually I'm just like, hey, like, what do you want? Like, do you want to go to the store? Do you want me to go with you? Like, I feel like I can't send her to the store because it's like really late and there's a convenience store. And I'm like, just kind of wrestling with like, what does she want from me? So I start asking her, like, do you want something? Like, what's going on? Like, I can go get something with you. Like, and she's like, no. She's like, we're good. And then some silence happens. We're watching the show and she goes, hey, there's a Twix and a Mexican Coke for you in the fridge if you want it. And I was like, oh, that's what was happening. I thought she wanted something from me. I thought she wanted me to go get something. I thought she wanted something from me. It turns out she had something for me. And here at the church, that's exactly what this place is. It's a place where we want more for you than we want from you every single time. We want more for you than we want from you. We want more for you as a husband. We want more for you as a wife. We want more for you as a dad, as a mom, as a son, as a daughter, no matter what it is. We want more for you than we want from you. And I can empathize with thinking that you might be walking into a place that wants to take something from you, take advantage of you, only wants you to get plugged in and served so we can get something from you. But what I can tell you is that at any time that you think we want more for you or we want more from you than we want for you, we'll tell you there's a Mexican Coke and there's a Twix in the fridge. That's who we are. That's what this place is. We want more for you than we want from you. There's a little known fact about me, maybe. I've lived on a farm pretty much my whole life. So I lived on either a farm that had animals on it or now I live on a farm that has vegetables in it. And I know I don't look like I live on a farm. People who live on farms don't dress like this. I get that. But I am. I'm surrounded by vegetables. It's corn or soybeans all the time. And we have a core value here. And I'm tying it in because it uses the word farms. That's why I told you this. It says, we are faith-filled, big thinking, bet the farm, risk takers. And we'll never insult God with small thinking and safe living. Now, what this core value means isn't that we as a church all live on farms. I think I'm the minority when it comes to that. But what it means is back in the day, the way farms worked is if you were a farmer, it was everything to you. Your farm was the place you lived. Your farm was the place where all of your assets were, where all your vehicles were, where all of your buildings were. It was the place you worked. It was everything to you. So to bet the farm on something meant that I was going to give it everything that I had. If I bet the farm on something, I was going to give it everything that I had. And we here at The Brick are faith-filled, big thinking, bet the farm, risk takers. And what that means is that we want to be a place where God can give us his biggest dreams and we'll take them and we'll run with them. It doesn't matter how scary it looks. It doesn't matter how many steps we don't think we have figured out. If God gave us the dream, there's only one thing to do. It's time to bet the farm. And we have Fort Gibson campus coming up. And it's crazy to think that we would see life change happen in Fort Gibson like we see it happen here every single week. But guess what? God gave us the dream, so we're betting the farm. It's crazy to think that we would see God move in Fort Gibson, that he would help us plant another church in Fort Gibson, but he gave us the dream, so guess what we're going to do? We're going to bet the farm. And we as a church aren't a building, we are a people. So this isn't just for ministry. This is how we live our lives. When God calls us to do something, whether it's in our finances, whether it's in relationships, whether it's in our job, no matter what it is, we will bet the farm as a church. That is who we are. That is what we do. We are faith-filled, big thinking, bet the farm, risk takers. And we'll never insult God with small thinking and safe living. Another thing that's true about this place is that we will do anything short of sin to reach people who don't know Christ. And to reach people no one is reaching, we'll have to do things that no one is doing. Y'all just heard Pastor Jared say this. And it's one of my favorite core values also. But I do have another question for you, and you can participate. If you want to raise your hand, you don't have to. But does anyone in here have a favorite Jesus moment, a favorite moment with Jesus in Scripture? Some of you do. It should be all of them. You shouldn't have a favorite one because all Jesus. I'm just kidding. I have a favorite moment. I've been thinking about it lately, through the lens of this core value. And my favorite moment with Jesus is when he's talking to the Samaritan woman at the well. And what's happening is if we could go back in time and we could see it, we saw it through the context of our culture, all you would see is Jesus is standing here and there's a woman at the well standing over there. But what you can't see is what they would see in their context of their culture, right? They're in the context of their culture, Jesus isn't standing here and there's not free space between him and the woman. There's actually obstacles all in between him and the woman because there's just some things in their culture that would have gotten in the way of that. And so one of them would be, the first one is that Jesus is a man and she's a woman. Now, back in their culture, you actually didn't have extended conversations between a man and a woman. That just didn't happen. But what's happening in this moment is Jesus sees someone he wants to reach. He sees someone that he knows he needs to talk to. And this big obstacle is in the way. It's a cultural obstacle, but it's still a big obstacle. And Jesus decides he's just going to step on through it. And then there's another obstacle in the way, and it's that she's a Samaritan and he's a Jew. And to give you a little bit of context, Samaritans had a temple that was their own temple that they believe is the place that you need to worship God. It's the only place to worship God. The Jewish people also had a temple that they believed was the only place you can worship God. The Samaritans were upset with the Jews, and they went and they sabotaged their temple. So the Jews came back and they destroyed the Samaritans' temple. So these people had like a lot of beef between each other, like religious, culturally, like all of it. And Jesus is standing here, and the Samaritan woman's there, and anyone that would have been an onlooker would have said, Jesus, don't go talk to her. She's a Samaritan woman. You're a Jewish man. But Jesus looks at her, and he doesn't care because he's trying to get to her. So he just steps through the obstacle. And the last obstacle that would have been there for her was the whole reason why she was there during that time of the day. She was there during the middle of the day getting water. And you don't go in the middle of the day to get water back then. It doesn't make any sense. You would go in the morning time whenever it's cool so you can get the water for the whole day. But she's there in the middle of the day by herself. Why? Because she was an outcast. Because there was something in her past maybe that had people not even wanting to associate with her. They wouldn't even walk with her in the morning to go get some water. Like, Jesus is looking at her. She's an outcast. It's a big obstacle in the way, and Jesus doesn't even flinch, and he steps on right through it. And he's having this conversation with this woman at the well. And the conversation, I'm going to paraphrase it for you. It goes a little like this. He walks up and he asks her to give him a drink of water. And this actually would have been a kind thing to do because like that's just, he's not supposed to even associate with her. And the way that she responds is kind of like angry. She's like, why would you ask me to get you a drink of water? And maybe you've met some people in your life who responded angry to kindness. And that normally means that they haven't experienced a whole lot of kindness, to kind of let you know where this woman's at in her journey. And she's talking to Jesus, and she's like, kind of asking him some questions like, why would you talk to me? You're a Jewish person. I'm a Samaritan woman. Like, what's going on? And eventually Jesus is like, yeah, he's like, go and get your husband. And she's like, actually, I don't have a husband. And he's like, I know you've had 5 husbands, and the man you're with now isn't your husband. And that gives us the context for why she's there in the middle of the day. That's the reason why no one would have probably wanted to associate with her. That would have been crazy back in the day in their context. And she's like, okay, you're a prophet. Then you know things about me that, you can tell. She's like, but whenever the Messiah comes, he will tell us more than this. And Jesus responds and he says, I am the one you speak of. He said, I am the Messiah. And the Samaritan woman is so moved that the Messiah, that the Savior of the world would step through all the cultural obstacles that she can see to come and find her, that she gets up, she gets excited, and she runs back to Samaria. And it says that she got so excited and she ran back that she actually left her water pail there. Like, she didn't even bring the thing that she came here to get. And she goes back and she tells everyone about Jesus. And it says it like this in John 4:39. It says, many of the Samaritans from that town believed in him, talking about Jesus, because of the woman's testimony. This was the woman's testimony. He told me everything I ever did. We will do anything short of sin to reach people who don't know Christ. Why do we do that? Because we believe that Jesus modeled this for us. Like, we get to see him model this for us. There were tons of obstacles in the way of him talking to this woman, and he stepped through every single one to get to her. Why? Because she was precious to him, because he loved her, because she was called. And she ends up being the first evangelist that you see in Samaria. Why? Because Jesus was willing to get to her. He was willing to break the obstacles. He was willing to move past everything that the culture would have deemed awful. Like, they would have been more offended by what he's doing than sin, but he still did it. And we as a church are modeling Jesus, and we will do anything short of sin to reach people who don't know Christ. And one of my favorite ways that we do this is something that's coming up that Pastor Jared talked about, and that is at the movies. It's coming up, and we're super excited about it. And what I've gotten to see is some of the closest people in my life are actually here because of at the movies. My friend Chris Riley is one of them. And what he'll tell you is that he came in, it was an Indiana Jones themed lobby, and all he'll say is like, there was a boulder. Like, I'm not sure what that boulder did to him, but every time you ask him about it, he's like, bro, there was a boulder. I walked in and there was a boulder. And and he talks about it like that every single time. And it's silly to think that decorations would move someone like that. It's silly to think that a boulder would do something like that. But the truth is, it's not the decorations. It's not that it's just a boulder. It's that he could come into a place that didn't look like church, and he could drop some guards and find out that Jesus is everything that he says he is. And now what we get to see is that actually Chris is here every Sunday. Chris actually got to preach one of our morning experiences at church camp. Chris is actually hosting our No Walls podcast. Yeah, y'all can get excited about that. Yeah, Chris is stepping into the call on his life because we decided we would do anything short of sin and have something that we call At the Movies. And if you want to be a part of making At the Movies happen, we would love to have you be a part of it. We have Build Week coming up this next week. You can come here, you can put your hands to everything that God is doing, and you can watch how he used what you're doing to reach people just like he reached Chris, because we will do anything short of sin to reach people who don't know Christ. Another thing that's really true about this place is that we believe you were made on purpose for a purpose. There's a story in Scripture, and it's a guy, his name's King David, and he's the guy that took out Goliath with the slingshot. He's the guy that's considered one of the greatest kings in all of Jerusalem, and he has this moment where he's sitting in his house, and it says he's sitting there, and his house is made out of wood, and he looks out, and he sees that there is what's called the Ark of the Covenant, and it's sitting there. And what the Ark of the Covenant is it's this box that had God's presence in it at the time. And so he sees that God's presence is sitting in a box, and it's under a tent. And he has a really noble thought. He's like, man, God's presence shouldn't be under a tent while I'm in a house. That's kind of messed up. So what he does is he goes and he talks to a prophet. He's like, hey, go tell God that I'm going to build him a temple. I'm going to build him a house where his presence can reside. And it's not going to be under a tent anymore. And the prophet goes and he talks to God. And then he comes back and he talks to David. And he's like, hey, David. And David's like, what? And he's like, you're not going to be the one to build the temple. And I would imagine David's probably a little sad. But I'm willing to do it. It just seems right. It seems like something I should do. And the prophet's like, no. But God did say that your son is going to be the one to build the temple. And not only that, he said that God told him that he will never, ever take his blessing off of his son as long as he lives. No matter what your son's life looks like, I'm never going to take my hand off of his life. And David's sitting there and he's just full of gratitude and he's just thankful. And he's he's just got some of the best news you could really ever get. And it shows his response in 2 Samuel 7:18. It says, then King David went in and sat before the Lord, and he said, who am I, sovereign Lord, and what is my family that you have brought me this far? David says, who am I? I think what's interesting about this is we got to see Moses asking the question, who am I, at the beginning of this, and we got to see David ask the same question, who am I? But they're completely different questions. Moses is asking this question out of a place of self-deprecation. He's asking this question out of a place of fear and anxiety. He's scared. He doesn't know what to do. He's like, who am I to go and do that? I can't do that. And then David's over here and he's like, God, who am I that you would bring me this far? Who am I that you would be this faithful? Who am I that you would do all this for me? Who am I that you would wrap me in purpose like this? Who am I that you would do this? And we believe here that you were made on purpose for a purpose. What does that mean? You aren't here by accident. You were made on purpose and you are given a purpose. You were here for a purpose. God has a call for your life. He wants to do something in your life. He wants to reach people through you. And I said that I can resonate with Moses, but what I found out is that the longer I've been here, I've been able to resonate more with David, because I used to be in that spot where every time there was an opportunity in front of me, I'm like Moses and I'm like, man, who am I? I can't do that. Who am I? I'm not the person to do that. Who am I? I'm not called for that. Who am I? I'm not equipped for that. And what I'm finding out is the longer that I've been able to be here and sit in here, I'm able to lean more towards David. Who am I to be a 16-year-old, to be in this place and have the privilege of doing ministry here every single week? Who am I to grow up in this house and be developed by it and get to preach on this stage today? And what I'm telling you is that story isn't unique to David. It's not unique to me, but that can be your story too. And what I can promise you is if you decide you will get plugged in here, if you decide this is going to be your spot, you will find out what we all believe in is that you are made on purpose for a purpose. For you, that might just look like you deciding you're going to get connected. Maybe you've been in here for a while, you've been coming in and popping out, or maybe this is your first time here and you just decide today, this is going to be my church. I'm not going to wrestle through this who am I by myself. I'm going to wrestle with it with people who care about me and who love me. And we would love to get connected with you. You can fill out a connect card. You can hop into a brick group. We would love to see that happen. And what I can promise you is that if you will stick around here asking the question, who am I? And you'll get plugged into who we are. We'll show you who you are. And that is a person that is saturated in purpose.
We are so excited that you're here today. If you heard that message and you feel like God's calling you to take the next step of trusting your life to Him, then what we would love for you to do is text the phrase, "I have decided." And what it does, it lets us know we can reach out to you so that we can help you understand that this is not a life you've been called to walk alone, but there's a community here at the Brick.Church that wants to walk alongside you as you become everything that God has called you to be. And again, we want to say thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. It's allowing us to take this message so much more than just 4 walls, but to the world. And if you're really passionate about being a part of that and you want to give to us financially to partner with what God's doing at the Brick.Church, then what you can do is you can text the phone number on the screen. And that's going to link you to a credit card, a debit card, or a bank account, but however you give. As a church, we say thank you so much. There are lives all over the world that are different because of what you are a part of here today. And we love you so much. We hope you have a beautiful week, and we can't wait to see you next time.